and welcome to Caroline GW Yoga and this practice of restorative yoga. I hope you enjoy. Namaste. So as you can see, I have a variety of different props, a bolster which I really recommend you have. I also have a cushion, a blanket in case I get cold, a couple of bricks and an eye bag. I've also put down 2 of my sheepskin rugs so I stay warm when I'm lying down in the poses and wearing loose, comfortable clothes. So if you need a minute to grab those, please go and get them and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so for restorative yoga, the reason we have so many props is because we want them to hold us in the pose. There should be no effort, no trying, no force. The idea is to totally surrender, and that's where the really deep healing takes place. I'll talk to you more in the poses as we'll be in them for around 5 or 7 minutes, but there'll also be quite a lot of silence as well. So there is a restorative yoga playlist on my Spotify that you can play whilst doing this class, or if you have your own chilled out music, I recommend that. Also to note, because we are in the poses for quite a while, if you ever need to come out before I instruct, that's absolutely fine. Make adjustments where you need to, listen to your body and just go easy. Remember, it's restorative yoga. Okay, so our first pose is supported pose of the child. So we all are familiar with a nice balasana, pose of the child pose. Pose. So what we're going to be doing here is with your bolster, mine's kind of squidgy, but there we go. I'm going to use 2 bricks at the top end of my bolster, okay, just to support it like so. Okay, so if you want to get any kind of height at the top end, you could also place your pillow at the top there and even your blanket on top of your pillow. Stack it as high or as low as you prefer, okay? Then you're coming into that pose of the child position where the knees are wide, big toes are touching, and then you're just going to fold over the bolster, bringing your head to face one side. I'm going to cactus my arms sort of, just letting the arms hang down loosely beside the bolster, palms facing down so you connect to the earth, and your head turning to whichever side feels more comfortable. As we hold this pose, if, like I said earlier, if there are any little movements or adjusts you need to make, please do feel free to make them. You don't have to stay in the pose as long as I am by any means. And of course, use more props. If you have more props, you could place 2 bricks under the forearms. Just be kind of inventive and creative. There's no right or wrong. It's just feeling into this moment, this practice, and how your body responds to each pose today. So we'll start with the eyes closed once you've settled into your supported pose of the child. And just taking a really nice long breath all the way in through the nose. And to breathe out, just open the mouth, take a nice, long, easy sigh all the way to empty. And at any point you want to sigh or do a little lion's breath, I mean anything that comes to you, feel free to. Breathing out through the mouth can further bring about this sense of relaxation in the body. So you don't need to wait for my instruction to give a big sigh or a big exhale. Through the mouth, through the nose, whatever feels good. In restorative yoga, there is no ujjayi breath, so not the usual yogic breathing. Your breath is totally natural, it's unforced. The only thing we are really trying to create is a very long inhale and a very long exhale. And the reason we want our breath to be really nice and long is because when we tap into, especially a very long exhale, that taps into the part of our nervous system that deals with rest and digest, or rest and repair. So if we've had a busy day, or if we're feeling anxious or worried, or any kind of emotions that don't bring about that chilled out Zen state, the body may be in fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, and that does have its place, but it's very important to also give the nervous system this space to be able to heal the body, to be able to heal the mind, and really at that deeper soul level. So for the next few moments, we'll just be focusing on increasing the length and the depth of our breath. As I say, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Just feeling how the hips release back towards the heels. The palms and the forearms release down towards the earth. Your head heavy on the cushion or your bolster. Your heart softening, your heart opening with each and every new cycle of breath. Relax your shoulders. Relax the bones of your arms, the bones of your legs. Just starting to give this message to your body that we're entering a space, a moment, a pause in our day. Just to be held in the pose, held in the moment, held by the movement of our breath. And it's so important to be aware of a balance in everyday life and also in our actions. What we give to others, but also what we give to ourselves, what we receive ourselves. So restorative yoga really is such a nourishing, healing practice. Sometimes people can wonder if they're doing enough in the pose, but really this is a very profound yoga practice that has effects at a much deeper level. And it's often us with very busy lives that we carry on to do very busy and active practices and sports, when we need to also nurture and create that balance of a more down-tempo pace of life, a down-tempo practice, which can be very difficult. So what I want you to do, we're going to stay in pose of the child. Throughout the practice, what we do when we come out of the pose, I want you to remember to take your time. You don't need to rush. There is no sense of urgency. You don't have to move when I instruct. You can stay in the pose a little bit longer. It's all very chilled. And also, if you can, keep the eyes closed where possible and just a slight sort of open when we move from different pose to pose for a visual if you need. So what we're going to do when you are ready, we're staying in pose of the child only if it feels all right for you. You're going to very slowly, keeping the head heavy, just lifting your head and turning the head in the opposite direction. If you move the head in the opposite direction and it doesn't feel right, don't rush, don't hurry, but then just go back to the first way your head was looking. Everybody just close your eyes. Settle into the new sensations you've created through a small shift. And also settle into your breath. Settle into a breath that is flowing all the way in and down your body. And a breath that you follow its movement all the way back up and out. Your breath should feel easy. Your breath should feel soft. Your breath should feel really good. So for these next few moments, I want you to feel into your breath. Mind wanders from the breath, if you find yourself drifting off into a sleep, it's all okay. We're not trying to achieve anything. There's no judgment. As I said earlier, there's no right or wrong. It just is what it is. Here in the practice, here in the pose, here with your breath. Come out of the pose. Before you move, just so you know where we're going to move into a seated cross-legged position. So only when you feel ready, feeling the palms and the texture of your mat, your carpet underneath your palms. Just so you connect to the physical body and come back into the space. Slide the hands slightly towards you and just press again slowly, easily, all the way up to your seat. From here, we're going to just, like I say, shift into a cross-legged position. So don't worry about which leg is in front because we'll be changing the cross. We're going to keep this exact position with the bolster. However, with your pillow or your cushion, you may need a little bit more height, okay? So I'm just going to fold my cushion in two, like so, as my forehead is going to rest on top of the cushion. So I'm leaving my nose and my mouth free so I can breathe, okay? Because we're going to be going face down. So when you're ready, forehead can come onto the cushion there. Your arms again can relax down. In the previous pose of the child, I had my palms facing up just to connect and ground into the practice, to arrive into the space. And now as I start to open and connect to this energy of giving and receiving, palms facing up is quite nice. Also on an anatomical level, it just creates a little bit of external rotation in the shoulders. So once you're settled into the pose, do make sure you can breathe. Remember, head face down. And sighing out through the mouth. Feeling with that exhale again how it is like a wave that just lets the body release, the body soften. First the skin, the muscles, the blood, the bones. Everything softening into that exhale, into that space created by a full breath in, where you feel that inner stretch created through your breathing. So even though there's not much movement in restorative yoga, there is still that movement of breath. And if you visualize the breath, how it fills up the lungs. When it fills up the lungs, they then press down and the diaphragm moves down, which in turn massages your internal organs, and this whole wave and ripple effect moves through your entire body. So start to travel to the top of your inhale and the very bottom of your exhale. Sometimes it's nice to give the breath a colour, if you like visualization. So any colour that comes to mind, just visualizing that colour as it moves all the way in and down your body, dispersing into all areas of the body, every tiny little space, nook and cranny. And as you exhale, just that colour, gathering anything that doesn't serve you all the way up and bringing it out of the body. And that stuff can be anything. Thoughts that aren't very helpful, feelings, emotions, physical sensations. The breath gathering it up on the inhale and letting it go, moving out the body on your exhale. Meditating and visualizing on this for the next few breaths. Relax your jaw, relax through the hip joint. As we stay in the poses for quite some time, if there are uncomfortable thoughts or emotions that do arise and come up in the practice, please do know that if possible, where possible, stay with those thoughts. Try not to shift in the pose to distract yourself from really allowing these thoughts to come up to the surface level for you to feel them, and then really the practice is to release them with that big sigh, with that big exhale. So we're holding these poses almost in a way it's more challenging for us because we're not moving the body at a faster pace or on a physical level, that we have to really sit with the thoughts, the emotions, the sensations that do bubble up to the surface. So like I say, where possible, Really just allow those thoughts, those feelings to come up. Don't shy away from them, but feel into them. And then know and just tell your body that it's okay to let go. Thank your body for protecting you where necessary, through the muscles, through storing any trauma in the body. But know that the body protected you when you needed it, but now it's okay to soften and to let all that stuff go. You don't need to hold on. Now is time to release. Now is the time to open up and soften. So like I say, a very powerful practice is the restorative yoga. It may not feel like we're doing too much on a physical level, but really the healing is so much deeper. We get through the surface level and layers and really dig deeper and deeper. On the physical level, yes, we do address the physical by giving the body time, giving the layer of the fascia, this coating around the muscles, to soften. And when we give this time, the fascia softens, which in turn gives space for the muscles to open up, to release any sort of knots and tension. So there really is a lot more going on than you may be aware of. So do practice and try not to overthink too much. We're going to now move into the same pose but with the opposite leg crossed in front. So only when you're ready, bring the palms to face down if they were facing up. Slowly walk the hands towards you. If you can, keep the eyes closed as you know where we're going, or just a little peek through the eyes. Change the cross of the legs so you can place the hands down behind you to support you. Opposite leg in front. And then easing your forehead back down onto your bolster, your pillow. Release the palms. They can be face up or face down. I want you to start to really feel into what your body needs. Whether you need more opening, whether you need more grounding, it really depends what have been influences in your life recently. So we're starting to really tap into that intuitive side, where you feel into all the many signals and messages your body is giving yourself, and also signs and signals that the day-to-day life is giving you, that sometimes when we're too busy rushing around we tend to miss. So again, slowing down really helps us to see more. So let's all just take a nice big breath in through the nose. And a big sigh. Settling here for a few moments of silence. Feeling the breath, watching the breath with that colour if you like. Or just letting yourself drift off into a slumber. All is good.
lengthen the time it takes to breathe in. And see if you can double the time it takes to breathe out, tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system through your breath, through your exhale. Slow breath all the way in. Release that breath out through the mouth. And in your own time, slowly, slowly making your way up to your seated position. Again, feel free to take as much time as you need to. We've been in this pose for a while, so no sudden movements.
Okay, welcome back. Our next move, we're going to do Janushisasana, head to knee, but head to bolster pose. Starting first by straightening out your left leg and bring the sole of the right foot to the inner right thigh. Okay, I'm then going to move my bolster to the inner edge of the left leg. Again, you can keep that height, so when you lean forward, it just makes it more restorative. Okay. And then again, you can have your pillow, you can have your rug, as you please, just to make that as high or as low as suits you. Okay, so from here, very simply, we're going to come forward. We're just going to be having the head facing to one direction to start with, and then like we did in our pose of the child, if it suits you, we'll turn the head to the other side. Okay, so take a moment to find that pose, hands relaxed down beside the body. Left leg is straight. Right sole of foot on inner left thigh. Turning your head to whichever direction feels natural to start with. Make sure that the palms, the forearms, the shoulders are relaxed. You should feel a slight stretch through the back of the left leg. And also around the low part of your back. There may be a slight stretch here. If you tend to be quite tight in the hamstrings, you will feel the stretch also in the back, possibly slightly more. Once you're settled, eyes are closed. Now, an option here is various tools to help us in restorative yoga, so we stay present, we stay with our intention of just really connecting to ourselves and to the moment, not getting lost in the story, is
the tools of what we've been practicing, following the breath, giving the breath a colour. There's also the tool of mantra, so if you would like to, you could repeat a particular word or sentence, something simple, as you breathe in and as you breathe out, so you connect to that word, you put intention into your body, into your soul with that word. If you're not sure of a word to use, there is a Sanskrit mantra. Sanskrit is a vibrational language. Just by hearing the Sanskrit or listening to mantras is uplifting, as the sound, the vibration, is said to allow the cells of your body to vibrate at a higher frequency, so it makes you feel good, even if you're not one to sing your heart out to mantras. It's good to listen to. So we're not going to sing along here. You may actually be playing them, which is quite nice for your restorative yoga, to play some mantras in your practice. But one simple Sanskrit sentence or phrase is Sat, S-A-T, Nam, N-A-M, Sat Nam, which translates as true identity. So the idea is that you're coming back into who you truly are. If you've got a little bit lost along the way, it's really just coming back into a sense of yourself, your purpose. It's your dharma in Sanskrit. So it's a lovely one to, as you breathe in, just to very lightly, you can say in your head the word Sat, and as you breathe out, very lightly again, the word Nam. So again, linking the mantra to breath, the breath to body, and to intention. So if that works for you, for the next few moments, Sat Nam on your inhale and your exhale. Now, if your head is comfortable in the position that it is in, you can keep it there. Those of you who would like to turn your head to the opposite side whenever you feel ready, moving very slowly and settling everything into this slight shift in position and twist around the cervical spine. Coming back to your mantra, coming back to your sentence that resonates with you. Breathing in Sat. Breathing out Nam. And it's so interesting as we hold the poses for this duration of time, how we sort of settle into a pose and we're like, oh yeah, I feel really relaxed, this is nice, and then after a few breaths, suddenly, woof, a wave comes through the body and just another layer of tension releases that we didn't even realize that we were holding on and being tense in the pose. So again, practicing this idea of being patient, allowing everything to happen when it's supposed to, not immediately, it takes time. Not judging, and just letting go. The idea of just really softening, letting go, and repeating that process, returning back to your Sat Nam. welcome to stay longer in the pose. We're just going to move on to the other side, just so you know where we're heading. Slowly walk the hands up, keep the head heavy. As ever, try not to open the eyes fully. Pause for a moment, no rush. Use the hands to support you as you straighten out your right leg. And then bring the left sole of foot to the inner right thigh. Moving all your props. So the bolster now comes to the inner edge of your right leg. And then down we go, and I'll see you in a little while. Starting with your head facing, so whichever way you did not have it turned just a moment ago. If you're not sure, it doesn't matter because we'll be doing both sides. And just taking those first few breaths to really settle into the pose. To feel what's going on a physical level. And to also just acknowledge and let your body, your mind know that it's okay to allow whatever emotions or sensations that need to come up. So even just saying that mentally to yourself, it may seem a little bit silly for some of us, but it's good to sometimes just talk to your soul and your body and say hi, and everything's going to be fine. Connecting to ourselves, giving ourselves the love, attention that we so deserve. Even if it may seem a little bit silly and a little bit yoga, why not give yourself some love and some attention? Remember, if you do need to just sigh out through the mouth, it's always welcome. Feeling the effects, the power of your breath to alter the state of your mind, to alter the state of your body. And that really is where the saying breath control is mind control. The more I practice yoga, the more I really understand many of these sort of sayings and sentences that you hear so many teachers just string out and say in a yoga class. Suddenly you're like, wow, that really actually does make sense. But sometimes it can take a little bit of time to really understand the true power and meaning of some sentences that we hear time and time again. So as ever, if you want to stay with your head to whichever side it is, you can keep it there and just hang out. Those of you who would like to turn your head to the other side, you know the drill. Keep it slow, keep the head heavy, and take your time. One side may and most likely will feel different to the other side. Myself personally, the right I have to be slightly more careful with, as I tore my hamstring many, many, many years ago, and it's still a recurring little niggle. So even if you did and had different props on one side to the other, again, it's all about listening to your body and responding intuitively, responding with compassion. Or settling into the pose, settling into the breath, and just letting the body melt. Melt with that exhale, let go with that exhale. Continue to just remind and re-educate the body to soften. Notice if your shoulders are still holding on a little bit. Remind them, re-educate just to drop to the earth. The shoulders are said to be the area where we carry a lot of other people's problems. When we're looking after our friends, our family, we carry that concern and empathy for them. So the shoulders can get quite tight on a more energetic, emotional level. Our hips are where we store a lot of our own stuff. So that's why shoulders and hips tend to be quite loaded with a lot of emotion, especially when in a restorative and yoga practice we tap into those specific parts of the body. So always reminding, always just checking in, are you letting go? And then more often than not, we're like, oof, those shoulders can drop a little bit more. Three more breaths. Ready? Slowly, slowly, up we come. No sudden movements, no jerky movements, just taking your time. And then just straighten out your legs, move those to the side. Give them a little wiggle from side to side. Got a few bits of pins and needles going on as the blood rushes back through those joints.
Okay, so our next move we're going to do, we're going to be using our bolster again and our 2 bricks if you like. Okay, so now the bolster is coming straight along the centre of our mat. Start by, in a seated position, your right hip next to the bolster, okay? My knees are bent, and then just let the knees fall to the side. So now my right knee is in line with the right hip, okay? The hip next to the bolster. Top leg, left leg, whew, I've got pins and needles going on, can just sort of fall naturally, okay? Doesn't have to be stacked on top, let it be nice and soft. Then look towards your bolster, center of your chest, go straight down towards the bolster. You can see my arms, I'm cactusing them out. We'll start with the head first towards the knees, and then as we've been doing, turning it to the other side. So my bolster's a little squidgy. I'm going to give myself a little bit more of a cushion for my head as I come down, like so. So center of the chest down, head turns to the left, arms relax down, and just chilling out in our twisted pose here. A nice visualization. As you can tell, I like to do visualizations. I just feel they really help me connect to really the deeper layers of the practice. So as we've sort of been working for quite some time in the class already, I want you to take your awareness to your heart. So the center of the chest that is connected to the bolster that is connected to the earth. And this idea, going back to this idea of giving and receiving. So I want you to feel your heart connect to the earth, to our Mother Earth, to Gaia. And using the breath to connect our heart to the center of the earth. As you breathe in, visualize that you're breathing in all the energy, all the healing, right from the center of the earth, all the way up into the center of your heart. That energy and healing of the earth, of our planet, spreading through your entire body, filling you up with health, with happiness. And then your gift, your offering is from your heart, your love, back to the earth. So just seeing, again, you can use a color, a light, from your heart going down through the bolster, through the earth, piercing through the earth's crust, down deep into the soil, going deeper levels, deep to the very core, to the very heart, that molten liquid lava at the center of our earth. And you're giving your love back to the earth, back to our Mother Gaia. And if this works for you, just continuing to visualize this giving and receiving from heart to heart, connecting to Source, connecting to who we truly are, and finding this balanced relationship of giving and receiving. Both are connected, and both are very important for living and existing a balanced, healthy, happy life.
those of you that would like to turn your head, please do so whenever you feel ready. If you need to make any adjustments, of course make them. Don't feel any overwhelming discomfort in the poses. As ever, you should feel supported, held by the props, and held by Mother Earth in her loving, benevolent embrace. Three very slow breaths before I guide you out of this side of the pose. And when you're ready, slowly, slowly, you're going to make your way up to an all four position, so hands and knees. And just swing the hips from side to side, turn the head from side to side, nice and slow. And then we go to the other side. So you're going to align your left hip with the bolster, left knee and hip in line, right leg just resting on top. Again, looking down so you get the center of your chest to the center of the bolster, walking your hands forward, and your head will turn to the same direction as your knees to begin with. Taking a nice long breath all the way in through the nose once you settle into your pose. Let's all sigh out together. And just resting here. No expectations. Effortless. As you gift your body with so much goodness. Using any of the tools previously explained, watching the breath, giving the breath a colour. You could use your mantra or that visualization of connecting to the very heart of our earth and the heart of our being. Those of you who would like to turn your head, do so in your own time. Take a nice big sigh. More breaths. Very slowly, softly, out we come. And just stay in a seated position. We've come to our final pose, Shavasana. Well done. So I do encourage you all to have a blanket to keep yourselves warm. If you have an eye bag or just something to place over your eyes, that can be really nice just to, again, keep that introspective awareness. And a pair of socks if you haven't already got some on. The bricks we won't need, so they can go to one side. The bolster, we will. It's going to go behind the backs of your knees. Okay, this just helps to release the low back. Slight elevation and aids just to sort of, it takes the pressure off the back, so then we can really fully relax and let go. So set yourself up so you're cocooned in your rug. You may want your pillow for underneath your head and your eye bag as well. Okay, so settling down for a delicious Shavasana. We'll be here for around 10 minutes, so I do encourage you to stay here because this is where it's really important, and everything that we've kind of put into action will integrate here in your Shavasana. Okay, so I know it's difficult sometimes for us to stay in these poses, but this is really, as I say, where the profound healing takes place. Okay, so you've made it this far. Stay in your Shavasana. I will be reading you something in your Shavasana, and then I will bring you out at the very end. Okay, so see you in a little while. Get nice and settled. Make sure that your arms You can relax them alongside the body, palms face up. If you'd like to, rest one hand or both hands, one on the belly, one at the center of the chest, or both on the tummy. That is absolutely fine. Make sure that the legs are relaxed, the back of the neck long, your shoulders, your whole body. And here, once you are settled, moving through a body scan, so starting at the feet, just allowing the feet to flop open to the sides, relaxing around your ankles, moving from your ankles up the calves and the shin bones, feeling them relax, feeling them become heavy and soft. Moving up around the kneecaps, all the way up your thighs, the front and backs of your thighs, up to your hips, moving around the joints of the hips and around your pelvis. Soften the pelvic bowl, soften and visualize your tailbone release down towards the earth. Moving slowly up your body as you soften the lower part of the torso, the middle of your torso, and the upper chest. Visualize that softness traveling down both arms, around your elbows, down your forearms to your wrists. As the body softens, you feel the muscles relax. And when the muscles relax, the bones have this space to find their correct bony alignment. So feel all the many little bones in your hands, your fingers, shift as they soften. And then coming up towards the collarbones, the shoulders, and up the front and back of your neck. Up the back of the head and down the front of your face. Softening across your forehead, softening across the ridge of your nose, the eyebrows, the space between your eyebrows. Relax your ears, relax your cheeks, your jaw and your throat. Allow the eyes to sink back in their sockets. Your nose and both lips are soft, the teeth slightly apart, and the tongue plump in your mouth. Now visualize your entire body on the ground, and as a group, let's take a really big breath all the way in through the nose. Big sigh, melting into the ground. 2 more, deep breath in. This last one, bringing you into your Shavasana with a soft, long sigh to empty, to soften, and to simply be here, resting your body, quietening your mind, and being still, at peace.
is a poem called The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day, you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Wherever your mind has drifted, slowly bringing it back to the movement of your breath. Feeling your breath move through your body like a wave, just flushing through energy, health, positive feelings. As you increase the length and depth of each new cycle of breath, start to make little movements in your fingers and your toes. And if it feels good, take a nice big stretch, point and flex your feet, rotate your wrists, your ankles. And as you breathe out, slowly just draw both knees to your chest. Give yourself an easy hug, putting lots of love into your body. Recognizing your body. And then ever so slowly from here, rolling everything to your right side. The left hand is on the earth by your chest as you carefully press to your seat. Take a moment to settle into a comfortable seated position. Settle your inner gaze between the eyebrows. And bring both hands now to meet at the heart center, connecting to your heart, to your inner wisdom, to your inner teacher. Thank you so much for practicing restorative yoga with me. Namaste.